What is going on, folks? Welcome back to another episode of Flying Brown's Garage. So, in today's episode, we've been working on Mike's truck quite a bit. Well, that's got me fired up to get old Blue finished up. So we're going to start working on this today, getting the carb adjusted, getting it running. We're going to try to do the fuel tank in this episode, clean it, get the interior finished, probably try to order our taillights, get them situated, order our voltage regulator, order our windshield, and get this thing on the road finally after almost 2 years of us having it. So let's get into today's video. First thing, we're going to go to Mike's and get the old colonoscopy scope so we can shove down in the tank there and see if it's good. That way I can go ahead and hook it up and get this thing on the road. So let's get into the video. Alright folks, it's getting a little late. We kind of consolidated parts. I got the parts out of the bed of this, bed cleaned up, everything in that, all tires aired up on both that truck and this truck. We got a couple flats on the other side. We got it all sitting right again. Does need a bath for sure, but I'm thinking before we go ahead and fire it up, because it is very loud and I kind of need Mike's assistance for tuning carburetor. While I'm great with lawnmower carbs, I'm not so great with vehicle carbs, so we're going to wait for him to help us out with that. But we do have a couple things we can do. We have some trailer light wiring harness down there that we can tap in to the rear for a trailer, and we have a light we're going to install on the bumper. So let's try to get this out of here. Yeah. Let's mount this somewhere on the bumper. Maybe like right in here. Alright, we got our light mounted, but we have yet to hook it up. We still have tag lights to hook up, brake lights to hook up, trailer wiring to hook up. So, what we'll go ahead and do now is, this thing's dirty and it needs a bath. So we're going to wash it and get it clean. And then we'll let it dry, and then possibly tomorrow we'll come out here and mess with it if we don't kind of mess with under the hood tonight. Not quite sure yet, but we're going to wash it and get it clean. Alright folks, we got her washed up. Was going to clean out the interior, but it's not that dirty. It cleans up real good. Now that she's clean, we can really start working on this thing. I went ahead and came through here just a second ago and wiped down the interior. So at least the seats and everything are clean. Really looks good in there. I can't wait to get this on the road. This side also cleaned up really well. So, I think I'll probably roll it back up in here and let her dry off. And then we will get back at this tomorrow or the next day and finish this thing. Hopefully finish this thing in this video. That's what I'm wanting and hoping. We've done quite a few videos on this truck so far on the channel, and I've kind of been working with what I've had. You know, usually most channels kind of fix it all in one, but ain't had the money. We're kind of doing it as we have the money to do it. So hopefully by the end of this video, I'll have the money for the voltage regulator, the tail lights, marker lights, and the windshield, which is a critical thing, and some hoses here and there, some clamps and stuff like that. So I'm probably going to start off with stuff, small stuff, and then we'll work our way to the big stuff. We will have to pull the windshield wipers off of the red truck to put them on here. There's a couple other things I need to pull off the red truck. We do need to fix the door. The lock rod in the passenger door needs to be replaced with that one out there. Just a couple other things that we need to tie up on this truck to make it a fully functional old Ford truck. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shove her on in the garage or the carport, and we'll see you back out here in a couple days on this old girl, hopefully. Alright folks, it is the next day. Last night we washed this thing, and it looks really good. This old truck cleans up so nice. And just look at that thing. Wow. She's a clean old truck for something someone was going to throw away. We washed this thing last night. We were supposed to scope the tank, and we never did. So we're going to do that today because I have to head to Mike's, and I want to be able to take him his camera back. So let's get the box open. Let's get this thing assembled and see what we can see. So folks, this ain't the clearest camera, but there is, looks like some trash down in there. We may have to clean or pull our tank and clean it. I didn't want to have to do that, but I can smell it from here. It smells like old turpentine. So yeah, we may be cleaning, pulling and cleaning the tank, unfortunately. But let me pull this camera out. We're going to go ahead and get the mics, and we'll see you guys back out here on this project in another day or two. Hopefully we can go ahead and pull our tank, clean it, and hopefully it's not too bad. So we'll see you guys in a couple days. Alright folks, it is the next night, and we are going to do a few things to the old Dentside here. We were actually supposed to go to Summit today and finish up video on Mike's truck, but he has a few health issues, and his foot was giving him problems to the point where he really has a hard time walking. Can't even speak right now. So instead, we're going to postpone that, and we're going to get to work on Old Blue. So what we need to do, basically I need to wait for him so we can tune this thing. But what I'm going to do here tonight is I'm going to come through here, and we are going to wire up our light bar and our light pod in the rear. I do not have switches yet, but we can at least get our wires ran into the cab, dash, all that good stuff, and ready for a couple of toggle switches. So we do have a list of things that need to be done. Right, here's our lists. We have everything here that needs to be done to the truck, as you see, and then everything that we need to buy for the truck. I don't know why so fuzzy. But that's the lists. We got a few things to do. So, like I said, let's go ahead and start getting some stuff together for our wiring for our lights. And then what we may do afterwards is start focusing on finishing wiring up our cluster, because it needs to be wired up. It's just in there. And then running our wiring from our cab to the tail lights back there, so when we get tail lights, everything's going to work. So let's get to it. Alright, we have cleaned up our connections on our terminals there. They're a lot tighter. I was going to run this power wire into the solenoid there, but the thread stripped at the end. Also, this wire here is for the inverter that I installed, but I think since this is going to end up being the street truck, and that's going to end up being the work truck out there, I think the inverter is going to go in it. So we're going to leave that wire disconnected, because I will be pulling it out at some point soon. But we do have our power wire hooked up, and it's ready to run into the cab. We also have our power wire from the light here to go to the switch. It is running into the cab. Then we have our grounded right there. And all that good stuff. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to running that wire inside the cab and getting that light set up in there. I do not have any switches as of now that I know of. Might need to dig. I might find some. But let's go ahead and get this front light finished so we can move on to the rear. Alright folks, we got our front light bar wired up. Yeah, I cut the headlights on just for aesthetics. Let's get y'all some light on here, and we'll go into the interior. So what I did is I found a switch actually. So I drilled a hole, and yeah, as you see, it works. So now I'm gonna move on to the other one. I did run that into a power, so it's doubled in there, but I ran it single out here, so it's singled and then doubled in the interior. So it runs to both switches. This will run to the rear switch and the front switch for both for power. We do have a fuse on it right here, so in case we have any wiring issues coming from the battery, that fuse should pop, and we should be good. So I I guess now that that one's done, we can move on to the rear and get that little guy in. Hoping maybe I can find a switch for it too. If I can, all of our lights will be done except for our tail lights and our markers. Yes, we have a marker back there, but it's supposed to be reds in the rear, yellows in the front. We're ordering a new set, and it comes with tail lights and all 4 markers. So what we'll be doing is putting all 4 markers and tail lights on this one, taking these markers out of this truck and putting them in that truck. So let's get to doing the rear. Hopefully we can get it done for the end of well, I mean, it's already night, but maybe for the end of the night. That'd be nice. Alright folks, I think we're done for the night. We're pretty much out of butt connectors and a couple other things that we need. Zip ties. Since we're running from the back of the frame forward, I want to zip tie everything to the frame so it's secure. And I do not have zip ties or any more butt connectors, so we're going to need to get some. But we did get our front light bar working, so that's always a plus. Interior, or not interior, but lights are working. Let's see. Why isn't my cab light working? Why? No cab light. Is it because the key ain't in the ignition? Last time I checked, I didn't need the key for the cab light. No. Obviously ain't got nothing to do with the damn cab light. Well, at least all that works. And the headlights work, but did the bulb go out? Sure as hell don't look like it. Let me try to figure that out real quick. Alright folks, I'm about to go inside for the night because it is late. That's why I'm talking a little lower. Everybody's asleep. But, did come through here since we're on standstill for the wiring for the rear light. I came through here in the interior and a whole bunch of stuff wasn't working in here. I needed to wire up the lights down here for the gauges, cigarette lighter for all my accessories here, the CB radio. Also needed to fix my overhead light, but now let me get out a set of keys. So when I kick my ignition over now, let's find a hole. We got our CB, got our accessories down here in our console. I did blue, white, and blue because I didn't have all three blues. Our cab light is working. Of course, our headlights are working. Light bar is working. So I'm almost done with wiring in here, except for our cluster here needs to be wired up. We need a radio, and pretty much that is the end of the wiring. Speakers, radio, cluster, tail lights, and that's it. And the back reverse light that I'm adding. I did want to put all the badges on it. I don't have matching badges. This one's a F150 Ranger. I did put one on this side just to kind of put one in there, but it's a custom. But at least it has badging. I'll change that later. I'm going to find another Ranger badge for this truck. Then I'm going to take this one off and find another custom badge for that truck. But it's coming along pretty nicely. We've got almost all the wiring done, so tomorrow we'll come back out here after we go get some zip ties, some butt connectors, and a few other things that we need to finish up the wiring on this truck. And then we can move on to our fuel tank, getting it plumbed in. And then honestly, other than ordering the parts, the rest is history. Folks, it's been a couple hours since we had the camera on. I have gotten wires ran. Also swapped out the wheel for the old Indy wheel on the other truck, since that's going to be a work truck and this one's going to be the nice truck. I figured I'd go ahead and put the wheel in here. The only thing is about this wheel is I don't have a cap. So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to make a homemade cap, just a flat piece of metal to go around this, and then I'll run 2 wires up from here to a button, and I'll have me a horn on the wheel. All of everything else, of course, you know, we hooked up our stuff the other night. I think what I'm going to do is, instead of having my oil pressure gauge down there, I'm going to get a vacuum gauge, put it in the middle there, and I have this oil pressure gauge here. Well, this truck is a non-vented truck, but the bezel that I have, the trim, has a vent in it, and as you see, the rest of the truck don't have any vents. So I'm going to make a little plastic cover to cover this square hole, and then we're going to cut out a hole for an oil pressure gauge right here, and then we'll do a vacuum gauge down there when we get one. But yeah, she's coming together. As you know, we got all of our lights going. There's headlights. There's our front light bar, and there's our other switch for our rear light. So, all of our lights are now hooked up and ready to go. So, at this point, what I would probably do is I'm going to go inside and take a quick break. And I'm probably going to come out here and focus on that door panel over there. I need to pull it off and fix the lock rod so the window will go all the way down and the lock rod will act properly. Once we get that fixed, the interior will be basically done except for wiring up our cluster, which we may, after we're done with the door panel over there, we may go ahead and jump into the cluster and get it done. And then once we get the cluster done, then we'll go ahead and do our oil gauge over here instead of down there. Alright, we have successfully fixed our lock rod over here. So I figured out I had it in the wrong spot, actually. So to lock it would have been pulling it up, and then to unlock it would have been pushing it down, but now it's perfect. That's locked. That's unlocked. So, unlock. And locked. So, now that that is fixed, and all of our lights are wired up, I think what we probably need to move on to is wiring up our cluster here. I have all the wire nuts to do it. We need to go and get the plug out of that truck and put it in here. So let's see if we can't get our cluster lights and everything working on the dash. Alright, we got a cluster hooked up, but battery's kind of dead. Well, not battery, but jump box. So far, we've got our voltmeter over here working. We've got our belt light working. I think I may go through and see if maybe the turn signals aren't working because of the flashers. Because I don't hear anything in there. We'll have to figure that out, but yep. It's hooked up, and yeah, let's see if we can't make us a little plate here and put our gauge in, and we'll try to figure out a couple of things to do tonight. Oh yeah, battery's super dead. Or jump box is super dead. I'm hoping it's affecting some of this stuff, so let me charge that, see if it does anything. Alright folks, so I think I showed y'all that I got the cluster wired up. You can see that our stuff's working. Brake light's not working and the dash lights aren't working. I'm not sure why, but I do have headlights. Of course, we have our front light bar that we wired up. We have our back that we wired up. We have all this down here that we've wired in. I did disconnect the oil gauge down here. It's now up here. So it's now there instead. We did come through here and Why is the cab light now not working? Up. Okay. So we went ahead and made us a cover for the steering wheel because I did not like how that steering wheel looked without a cover. So I cut out a piece and we bolted it in, and then I drilled a hole through the middle. We have 2 cables running to our horn, but right now it's not. I gotta fix the horn. But that's kind of the concept there. So I think I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll be back out here again on it tomorrow. Alright folks, it's in. And I can't play this for long because I'll get copyrighted, but that sounds good. It blows that stereo out of the water. It glows pretty cool. I like the blue and how it glows more than that stereo. Sounds great in here. So the 2-door speakers, and the 2 speakers here on the console that I built, and the 2 speakers behind the seats. Wow, this thing kicks ass. Very happy with that stereo. So now what I really want to do is I've been collecting keys for some years, and I've had this old key here for a very long time. It's a gold-plated 70s like designer key, and it is a Ford key. It is 1 cut off from the other ignition switch that I have. I have 2 of these ignition switches. It is 1 cut off from the other ignition switch, so we're going to make that work and put it in here so I can use this old style gold-plated designer key. Alright folks, unfortunately I cannot find the lock cylinder, or the ignition lock cylinder. I'm not sure where I put it. I know it's in a bag with some other lock cylinders that I had for this truck. I need to locate them. So I'm going to run around here and see if I can't find them. I'm not sure we're going to get to this today. Might be tomorrow, might be a couple days from now, might be whenever, I don't know. But I'm going to try to find these in the meantime while we're kind of in the works of this video, and hopefully I can, so we can get this key working with a different switch, and yeah, just everything cool on this truck, because I just want that truck to be a work truck. Nothing special about it. I will show y'all something on that truck that happened Sunday, and it is pretty awesome. So let's walk over there real quick and check that out. We got our hood back for this truck. So we had given Daniel this hood originally because his hood got messed up, which this was his original hood here. So this is his original hood, and I will show a picture of his truck with this hood on it. Now I will show you a picture of the truck with his new hood on it. And that is why he didn't want to fix this hood. There's a couple spots where it mounts that are rusted out, and he just didn't want to mess with it. So he went and bought a aftermarket hood from Summit Racing and installed it instead. And he brought me back the original hood for this truck. I am happy about that. I will fix that spot and use this hood, because that's the only spot on this with the other hood on it that I had before. Was the only spot on the cab that was actually messed up. And I am going flatbed with this. So that part of the truck is, of course, not going to be there. We're going to do a nice flatbed. That bed is a little dinged up. I will be saving this bed, of course. I will be saving this hood, of course, just in case. I'm not going to get rid of any Dentside parts. I never know when I might be building another truck or needing parts for one of my two trucks. Because, of course, I'm going to have that truck and I'm going to have this truck here. Street truck, work truck. That's going to be a puller. The idea of that is I want 302. I've already got a 302 for it. That one is locked up. So we did get it free, but it has ring ridges, and I don't want to mess with it. So I did get a 302 flat tappet. It's a runner. It's over at Mike's. If y'all go and watch this video when it drops, y'all will see the whole schmill. We'll pick up the engine, pick up the truck, and get it back to shop and all that stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a 302 granny low 4-speed and flatbed. So good work platform for me to haul mowers, cars, whatever. So yeah, that's the plan, and I am glad to have that hood back. What we'll probably do is use the other hood for now and repaint it, do my Flying Brian's Garage logo on it, and then hang it up out here on the shop for a shop sign. And then if I ever need it, I can pull it down, repaint it, and put it on whatever I need to put it on. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and look, see if I can't find these ignition and lock cylinders, and hopefully I can, so we can go ahead and get this key working for old Blue. Alright folks, I don't know how much work I'm going to get done on old Blue today because I got other things I got to do, but while we were working on the old Indy out there, trying to figure out if the engine's good or not, if y'all haven't seen that video, be sure to go check it out. I went ahead and pulled the fan shroud off of there and put it in. So we have a fan shroud. The only thing is we're missing a little chunk, so I may take some tape or something, fix that. Otherwise, we have a fan shroud now. A couple days later, we've been out here working on this most of the day. I've not turned the camera on yet. We came up under here and got all of our connections done for our transmission cooler, which needed to be done. We came up through here and put clamps on every hose that needed to be clamped. We replaced this hose. I did replace the bottom part of the distributor cap because the one I had on here was gray and I like this blue one, so I went with the blue. And that's not really anything that, you know, needed to be replaced. I just wanted to. Of course, we got our fan shroud in here. All of our lines are clamped down. I have yet to go through the fuel line or the tank. We will be doing that tomorrow. Everything's clamped. Everything's on. We are going to Mike's this evening, and I'm going to yank the E3 spark plugs that are in the 302 over there. And I'm thinking I'm going to pull the chrome valve covers off of it too, because I think those valve covers are actually for a 351 because they're deeper. So hopefully they are, and they'll fit this engine, and we could swap them out. So I'm not going to take the camera with me to Mike's. I'm actually just going to hang out and kind of fuck off with some things. But I will see you guys back out here again tomorrow, where we will hopefully dress this thing up with some E3 plugs, do our swap for our valve covers, go ahead and run our fuel line, check our tank, and maybe even get into doing the wiring for the bed and the tail lights. So see you guys back out here again tomorrow. Alright guys, it's same night. I was actually going to do all this tomorrow, but decided to do it tonight instead. Valve covers, we have everything we need here. Got E3 spark plugs. We have a thermostat. We've got, I pulled the fuel pump off of that engine just in case I needed it. I don't know. This is a newer inline fuel pump. And like I said, of course, we got a... Oh, we also grabbed the coil off of that engine because I think I'm going to go ahead and swap the one out on this truck here. This is a good coil, I know for sure. So we're going to put this in place, and we're going to go ahead and put on the plugs and the valve covers. We'll probably do the thermostat tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and get these cleaned up a little bit and get them ready to be put in place. Alright folks, I did get one clean and on. I got the air breather clean up there. I do like the chrome. We've got a set of E3s over here, which we'll be installing tomorrow. I did go ahead and clean up the other valve cover here. There it's it compared to the blue one. But we also got a thermostat to install tomorrow, some more hose clamps to finish everything up and get everything sealed. We have another fuel pump in case we need it, although that is a small feed and ours is a larger feed. Oh, we have a dog. Sup, dog? But yeah, we have a bigger fuel pump than what we have there, but here's a side view of the chrome. Kind of digging that. It looks good. What's up, dog? What's up, dog? What's up? Sweet dog. Yeah, sweet dog. Look at the dog. Oh, the dog. Oh, the dog. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and tie it up for the night. It's getting kind of late, and we'll be back out here again tomorrow. Hopefully we'll finish up everything, finish plumbing the tank and all that good stuff, and getting this thing completely tied up and ready for a windshield, some tail lights, some marker lights, and then we can get her back on the road again. So, see you guys back out here again tomorrow. Alright guys, well, it's the next day. And I know in this video I've said that quite a bit. Well, there's going to be a lot freaking more of that, so get used to it. This morning, kind of was going over the engine here. Last night we got a valve cover on this side, and we got our chrome cleaned up on the engine. We're working on getting this valve cover on over here. I've already removed it. Got our E3 plugs there waiting. I'm even wondering if those E3s are going to fit in this 351. I don't have a lot of experience with these old Fords, so I'm not sure if 351 plugs are the same as 302 plugs. I don't know. We're about to find out. But I will say this. Last night we were over there at Mike's. I got a little curious, and I started digging at the serial numbers on the engine, that 302 over there. Because I wanted to know for a fact, was it the stock engine that came out of Daniel's truck? Because if any of you guys know, you can decipher year, make, model, the exact manufacturing date, and all that kind of stuff off of the VIN or serial numbers on, you know, casting numbers on parts. Like I said, VIN or serial on the truck will also tell you what it came with stock, drivetrain wise, and all of its options, color, all of that stuff. So if you're ever looking at an old vehicle and you want to know what you got, and you want to know what it came like from the showroom, you can decipher those numbers and it will tell you what you need to know. So we deciphered the numbers on 302 over there, and it told me that 302 that came out of Daniel's 78 F-150 Ford. That is not the stock engine that was in his truck. So the stock engine, I have no clue what happened yet. It probably got roached years ago. That engine was manufactured August 20th of 1978, so the year numbers match up. I'll put y'all on the stand. The year numbers match up. But the okay, your numbers match up, but the other numbers don't match up. So I think it's the number for that engine is D8VE, and what that tells you is the D tells you the, what is it, the year? Let me look this up again, because I don't want to be wrong. I want to give you all the right information. Let's see. Here we go. Okay, so the engine number on that engine, that 302 over that we got from Daniel, that came out of his truck, the stock engine, the number is D8VE 6015 A3A. So this decodes as follows. D equals the 1970s decade. 8 equals the 1978 year. So D is the decade of what year or what decade it was. And then the 8 resembles the last digit or the last number of the year that it was manufactured. So D8 stands for 1978. V equals the Lincoln vehicle line. Lincoln? E, engine engineering division, of course. 6015 is an engine block code. That's a common code on all of them, as I've heard. And A3A is the engineering revision code. The last part, 8B20, that's usually stamped right next to that number, up under it. On a 302, it's on the passenger side, rear towards the starter area. So 8B20 was stamped on that, so that tells me that it was August 20th, 1978 that that engine was manufactured and came off of the showroom floor, or the assembly line, I guess you'd say, not the showroom floor. There's also dates on the heads that will tell you the same thing. So one of the heads was manufactured the 15th of August. One of them was manufactured the 22nd. And then the engine block was manufactured the 20th. So we have on this engine a C9. No, it's not C9, it's C5. C5AE 6090A. So that tells us that it was manufactured in 65. Well, that's a 79. That's got a 65 in it. So let's go a little further. C5AE 6090A. So the 6090 is of course, that's a common engine code. We're not going to worry about the A, but we do know that the E is engineering division, of course. The third character is the vehicle line. That is an A. Well, I looked up the vehicle line for an A. That is, let's see, C9A. A would be generic large body Ford, big body Ford. What was it again? Generic full-size Ford. So it came out of a generic full-size Ford. So I looked up what was considered a generic full-size Ford. Ford Galaxy, Ford LTD, and a Ford Crown Vic. Well, we know for a fact that I do not think the Crown Victoria was around in 65. I think it was an LTD then. I think. I'm not sure. You know what? Let's do this. Let's look up 1965 Ford LTD. If this is the one I think it is, no, it's not. Ha, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, okay. Came out of that. I don't know if I can focus. 65 Ford LTD. Let's see. I think the Galaxy was this same car. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It makes sense. That's funny because me and the wife were watching a Junkyard Digs video that did one. No, was it Junkyard Digs that did a 65 Galaxy? I don't remember. I know Thunderhead 289 did one, and I was watching that. Who else did the other one? Oh yeah, it was Dalton, Pole Barn Garage. That's the one. I think he had a custom 500, same body style. It was just a lower trim model. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind having an old 60s model car. Well, that's hilarious that that's what that came out of. 65 Ford Galaxy or LTD, pretty much same body style. Trim models higher on one than the other. That's what that engine came out of, 351 Windsor. Kind of cool. So it's a 79 powered by 65. The more you know. So now that we know this, I think it's cool. I'm kind of smiling about it, as you see. I like old stuff. I just do. And yeah, that is awesome. So 65. Let's get to putting some valve covers on, see if our spark plugs fit, get everything fitted up under the hood, and then go ahead and start plumbing our gas tank. Alright folks, we got the chrome package. Chrome valve cover, chrome valve cover, chrome air breather cover, and then the billet dressing kit. I think that looks pretty good, along with the chrome coolant lines that Daniel had provided for us. I didn't have all the pieces to it, but I used them as I could. It's got a lot of nice stuff under the hood now. Yes, I don't have an MSD distributor in it, but I do have an MSD distributor, and I might convert this at some point. That cap was given to me in some parts that Daniel had given to me before. When he gave me this truck, he gave me just a whole bunch of parts. He gave me the wires, the MSD cap, and it fit the Duraspark setup. So I decided to go ahead and use it because, hey, number one, it looks cool. Number two, it's there and provided, and it's free. And number three, it is a high performance part. So I'm hoping that it would make a slight difference with the distributor. I doubt it will, but hey, we can only hope. But when he gave me that 302 over there, it does have the MSD distributor in it. So I do have the electronic distributor. I can convert this later on. I may not. You know, we painted some stuff. We got some new parts. It does have a new starter. We got our fan shroud now. It's just looking nice. I wish the engine looked a little better, but hey, it is an old truck. But it does run. It runs good. Yes, we have to get it running again because it has sat for a while, but hey, all in all, it's still a good running engine, good running truck. I do need to get a battery so we don't fry the one in the van because it is barely hanging on by a thread. It doesn't have enough power to start this, but it has enough power to start the van, so it's kind of one of those things where you just ride it until it dies. But we need to get a new battery. We need to get some coolant for this thing. We do need to get some oil. We do have an oil filter for an oil change, and some other fluids just to get everything topped off and ready to go. We will check that along the way as we go. But as of now, I'm going to go ahead and put y'all back on the stand. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't swap these E3 spark plugs in and get another better part on this truck so it has just a little bit more of a better chance of running really, really good and doing what we want it to do. Well, that is a bummer. They are not the same plugs. That is a much bigger plug. Damn. Well, that is a bummer. 351 plugs and 302 plugs. Totally different. We just learned something. I guess I will take my plugs out, clean them really good, and put them back. Alright, we've got our spark plugs out. There's the passenger side 4, here's the driver side 4. Go ahead and clean these up and get them back in there. Get spark plug wires all plugged back in. Then we'll move on to putting on our, installing our thermostat. And then we can move on to extending our exhaust pipe, because I want it as long as I can have it. I really want it straight out the back, but I don't have enough pipe to do that right now, so we're going to go as far back as we can, do turn downs, and then later on we can always chop the turn down off of it and add to it. That is the plan. I'd cut these off of the Indy truck. The Indy truck used to have exhaust that stuck out the side right there, and they were really ugly. I did not like them, so I deleted them. And I'm going to use those pipes for, so basically how this exhaust was it was kind of like that out the side. And I just didn't like it, didn't look good, no. Especially with one side having exhaust and the other side not. Just, So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get our plugs clean, get them back in, so we can do our thermostat and our exhaust pipe. Sure is a nice day out here today. Just look at that sky. Nice, pretty day. I'm out here enjoying it. I actually opened up the side here so we can get some air and some light and all that good stuff. So y'all just see me clean 4 plugs. Clean them up real good. Got the auto light platinums sitting right there. They're all nice and clean. We're going to clean the other 4 here in just a second and get them installed. I am really digging that chrome engine. Look at that. Yeah, sorry for all the clicking, but that's me adjusting the brightness of the camera for you guys so y'all can see a little better. That looks good for an old truck. Eventually I will tape all this off, and I'd like to paint the engine bay black again, probably the bottom of the hood because it needs to be sanded really, all that good stuff. So under the hood eventually will be black. I think it will look great. So that's the plan. Eventually, and we are going to paint the engine eventually, clean things up a little more, but for now we're just kind of getting what we have on it, the most high performance parts we can throw at this thing. I had noticed that Daniel, who had set me up with all this stuff, he had a bunch of high performance parts, but he had them all kind of scattered about, and they weren't all together, and now we are kind of consolidating and getting everything together. So, and it is looking nice. I love it. So let's go clean those other plugs to get that done, and then we can reinstall. We need to find a plug for that vacuum line right there for the PCV. I did away with the PCV. We're just going to use another oil cap breather style cap, and we're going to run with that. So we need to find a cap for that, and get our plugs back in, get our wires back on, all that stuff get addressed, and yeah, then we can go ahead and plumb our fuel tank, fuel lines, all that good stuff. Alright. Grab me stuff here. We're about to clean up our thermostat housing. Alright folks, surfacing clean. It's nice and clean. Nice looking surface. Yes, you can use a pocket knife if you hold it right and you don't have any gouges in your blade. You can use it as a scraper. And if you ever use a wire wheel, do not bear down too hard. You will eat the material off of it. But if you lightly graze it, you can clean it with a wire wheel. Old thermostat. New thermostat. Fits right in there perfectly. We'll have to get some gasket maker here in a few minutes and get some RTV. But for now, we're going to get that cleaned up. Let's do it. So, I'm going to grab some tools. Alright, we got our fuel line swapped out. All the way up to the valve up there, all the clamps back on it. I'm going to go find us a plug for this and get gasket maker and some more TV. It's a little dark now, but we're just getting back on the Ford. I'll take you out here and show you what we're working on. Showed y'all earlier, a headlight came in for the Lumina. If y'all ain't seen this video yet, y'all be sure to go check it out. We got the lumen all fixed up, washed it, all that good stuff, and it is nice and clean. So, but yeah, now we're back on the truck. Last y'all saw, we were working on the engine. We got the fuel line done, and we were jumping on to the rest of the coolant system for the thermostat. I did go get some gasket material. I have a whole roll of it. Love this stuff. I love to cut gaskets myself because it's a lot cheaper and easier than trying to have to go to the store every time you need a gasket and hope they have it and all that stupid crap. Just cut your own. You just gotta make sure that you get the right gasket material for the right gasket surface. That's all that matters. But cut us a new gasket, as you see, out of this Felpro gasket material. It fits perfectly. What I do is I trace it out. Around, trace the holes, and I don't trace that hole. What I do is I cut it out, all the holes, and I take and put the gasket on it, like so. And mind you, when I put this gasket on here, only holes are cut out. This one, this one, this one. Now hold it in place. I take a X-Acto knife here, or whatever the shit you want to call that, and I cut a square, and then I follow and guide around the edges to cut out a perfect gasket. So now that we have our gasket made, I'm going to go ahead and coat it both sides in RTV, and then we're going to go ahead and get this thing installed with a new thermostat. We can get it torqued down and in place, and I can put our hose back on, and then under the hood will be done except for plumbing the existing fuel tank, all the lines up to the pump and battery. Oh, and a voltage regulator, because we got to see what the heck's going on with our alternator charging system. It's not charging. We also got to kind of clean and tweak the carburetor a little bit. I'm going to try to clean it while it's on there, and that's about it. Maybe adjust the distributor a little bit, maybe advance timing, I don't know, depending on what it needs, but we'll see as we go. And yeah, let's get this thermostat in. Alright folks, it's the next day. As you see, gonna get a lot of that. Y'all just saw us put on the water neck and our new thermostat. As one of my favorite YouTubers says, that thermostat's rated for 180 degrees freedom units or 80 degrees communist. So that should do good for this engine, I do believe. Like I said, I don't know a whole lot about these old Fords, but I know a little bit. Now that that's on, we did coat the gasket, both sides, in a light layer, a decently thick-ish light layer of gray Ritiv, and that's RTV for you guys that don't work on cars. Now, about to put the hoses back on, and since we don't have any coolant, it's going to be good. It'll give that plenty of time to cure. Set up, but there's only one way that those thermostats can go in those housings. There is a little indentation for the top part. You will see it, and you will see how it sits. So you can't put it in there backwards, but it's in there. Let's get the hoses on, and we can call this project done and move on to plumbing in our tank, fuel pump, all that stuff. We need to get out the colonoscopy scope that Mike provided for us to check the tank. And I do believe I'm going to have to pull the hose on the side and access directly through the tank. See what we're looking at, and hopefully we can use that tank. I hope so, without pulling it and cleaning it. That would be awesome. So, let's see what we can do. Alright, folks. Let's get this hoses and everything in place. I will say that it is such a beautiful morning here at the shop. Got Marshall out here with us. For folks that have followed the Instagram and the Facebook, y'all will have known I made a post not too long ago about the dog. He was diagnosed with heartworms, and I had asked for not donations because I hate taking donations from people. Really, I was just asking for everybody to follow, and that will, you know, help bring us a little revenue, and in turn help him get his treatment. Well, I said there's more options, and I decided to pray about it instead. And for those of y'all that don't know me very well and don't watch my content a whole lot, I am a believer. Quite a believer. I've seen a lot in my life. So I do believe in God, and I believe in miracles. I believe in prayers. So I laid hands on my dog and just prayed every day. And I'm here to tell you that we did a cheap treatment, and my dog is perfect now. He is healthy as can be and living his best life. So, just a little update on Marshall. I can only thank God for that. I'd rather have a low subscriber content, not make any money in the world, and have my dog, then I'd rather have a bunch of people that like my content. My content ain't that daggum important to me. Oh, stupid hose. I'd be doing this regardless if, oh, where'd my clamp go? There it is. I'd be doing this regardless, guys, whether y'all were watching me or not. This is what I do. I've been working on cars all of my life. Mainly just whatever I could get. Okay, this ain't right. There we go. And I just enjoy what I do. So regardless if I had a big subscriber content, small subscriber list is what I meant. Small subscriber list, big subscriber list, or none, I'd still do the same things. I just figured I'd bring y'all along on my journey and show y'all what it's like, and kind of like a day in the life of me type of deal. I would hope to make a little money off of it someday. I don't ever plan on getting big. I don't want to be like all them big YouTubers that are too busy for their life. I just like what I do, and like to bring y'all along with me. Makes me don't feel so alone when I'm over here working by myself every day. I don't have friends show up a lot. They tend to stay in their own lane. A lot of times I'd like them to come hang out, but they don't. So, it's really just me and the dog. And I'm okay with that. Never been used to being around a lot of people. Once anyway. Alright, is that backwards? think so. But yeah, that's what's going on here. Marshall's great. I didn't need a bunch of subscribers to save my dog. I was just kind of panicking. I do happen to love that dog quite a lot. So, but everything will be better once I get this truck running. Transmission's taking a crap in the van. So, one of those deals where at this point I need this thing. So, alright folks, I think I've decided we're going to go ahead and move to the exhaust next instead. We got everything buttoned up under the hood here except for the parts that we need, you know, battery, voltage regulator, a couple other things like fluids and stuff like that. But otherwise we got everything buttoned up under here. All the hoses are back on, the thermostats and everything's sealed. We got a plug over our vacuum port there on the bottom of the carburetor. I do believe everything else is plugged off. Everything's cleaned. We have a fan shroud. We have clamps on all of our hoses. Our transmission cooler lines are ran. We have new valve covers that are cleaned and put on. The air cleaner cover is cleaned. We went through and cleaned our spark plugs, re-gapped them and put them back in. New fuel line. Quite a bit of stuff under the hood. So now that we're done with under here, like I said, let's go ahead and do our exhaust real quick, which is just adding a couple of pipe, a little bit of length, and doing another turn down further back. Probably adding some clamps and stuff of that sort. So we're going to go ahead and I got to go dig through the other truck, the Indy, to find the clamps and everything that I'm going to need for the exhaust pipe. And then I will go get my grinder and we will get to work on getting the exhaust pipe extended back just a little further, hung up, and done. Then I think our next tackle today is going to for sure be the gas tank, fuel lines, and then if we can get to it today, we'll also try to tackle up the wiring towards the bed for the tail lights and the marker lights. If not, we'll tackle it tomorrow. But my plan is just that, and we're going to get to it. So I'm going to grab the GoPro, and we're going to start doing some exhaust work. Fun times. All right. Got the GoPro going. Like I said, we just button this up. We're going to walk over here and see what parts we can locate. The old Indy truck. We need exhaust hangers. I think they're on that side. Got some tires, wheels put on this thing here recently. I don't know if I've shown this in this video. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But yeah. Steelies, except for that one. Doesn't quite match the rest of them, but hey, it's going to do for now. It'll hold a poverty cap, and then later on when I find one that matches the rest of them, I can use that one as a spare wheel. So she sits up a lot higher though, and I like it.
It really sits stout now. It looks like a truck, not some rundown complete piece of shit. It just looks like half of a piece of shit now. So that's always great. Actually, if it had the bed, I might even consider keeping this paint in the patina, but you know. Oh, that is definitely not the key. I don't know why I grabbed that one. It is this guy. When I got this truck, it didn't have the lock cylinders. This thing didn't have keys to it, so I had to change out the lock cylinders. So these aren't original to this truck. Alright, what did I do with exhaust hangers? You know, that would be a freaking good question. Alright, I guess I'm going to start digging, find some exhaust hangers, and then we'll get y'all back on here and do some exhaust work. Alright, well, good news is we found our parts. No, I'm not using these for an exhaust. We have our 3 hangers. We have 3 exhaust clamps. Technically, I don't think this is an exhaust clamp, but it will suffice as an exhaust clamp if it is not one. And there we go. So let's go see if our parts fit and start fabbing up a longer straight piped exhaust for old Blue. Alright, this is what we got going on here. Here's our pipe. I think I've showed you this before in this video already. Here's our pipe. That's my microphone cord. Don't pay any attention to that. Pipe. Clamps here. I've got them adjusted. We only needed 2. That other one was way too big, so we put it back in the truck over there. I only needed 2 exhaust hangers for each pipe, so we put the 3rd one back over there in the truck, and everything that we didn't need we put back over there in the truck. We're going to come in here real quick. We're going to cut this off of the pipe and get this thing ready to go in. So let's look at it down here. There's our exhaust. It dumps out right there. So I'm thinking we have a longer pipe and a shorter pipe, and that is longer and shorter. And yes, I know it doesn't freaking match, but dadgummit, that's all I had. So, you know, it's just all I had. That's what we're going to go with. So, with that being said, I want to cut these ends off and just see if I can't slide the pipe over that pipe and clamp it. If not, I'm going to see about maybe just welding it on. Either that or cutting it and spreading it and clamping it. I don't know. We'll figure that out. If I cut it and spread it and clamp it, I could just weld the spots that are exposed when it's on there and then call it done. We're definitely going to have to check that diff at some point. It is yeah, it's wet. Ugh. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and go get the grinder, and we're going to get to cutting this out, shoring those pipes up, and getting everything installed, seeing if it fits. Alright, so we're going to slide back into here. Got one cut. And there's how much further it's going to come out. To about right where the front leaf spring mount is for the rear axle. And that's good enough for me.
I'm not too picky. I just want something that's not too close to the cab. I do want it straight piped, but I don't want it too loud. So I do believe our next quest is to come in here and cut that off, add our other piece, and see if we can't get this thing sealed up and hung up and all that good stuff. Oh yeah. Alright. We have our pipe in. One is hanging low than the other, yes, but we were going to adjust that here in just a minute. We're adjusting and getting ready to install our hangers. I got to find a couple of bolts. And if you're wondering what that is on my wrist, that's actually the button that controls the camera that we're using. I can hit a button and record, but that's besides the point. One hanger's on, or one hanger's ready. I got to figure out where that one's going to sit and get this hanger in the same position. Get it on. I'm going to go look for some couple of bolts, a couple nuts to go with it, and hopefully we can finish that up. I did notice that they're loose up there at the donut gaskets. We're going to have to tighten them down as well, but no big deal. We can take care of that. So let's get this in down here taken care of first, and then we'll take care of the front of the exhaust. And then when we are done with the exhaust, fuel tank. Oh yeah. Well. We got it on. Let me see. I can't switch screens while this camera's recording. Well, we got it hung, as you see. We need to get that one up level with the other one, get it hung, and then we'll have this part back here done. Clamps are up there on there and all that good stuff. Then we can move towards the front. My fat ass is hungry, and I've already eaten lunch, but yeah, I'm hungry again, so I'm gonna get me a damn sandwich. I think that's a good idea. And yeah, take me a small break and come back out here, hang the other exhaust pipe, get that done, move on to tightening it up at the front. That's pretty easy to get to. You can probably do it from up here. Okay. It works for me. And then we can move on to fuel tank. And then bed wiring. Fun stuff. Alright folks, I've had my sandwich. I am out here with the goobers. How we doing, goobers? Huh? How we doing, buds? You need some belly rubs. Belly rubs for goober boy. Huh? Look at that face. Oh, the boy. He's a sweet dog. Okay. Well, now that we have given Goobs the attention that he so desperately needs, it's time to get back to the second hanger. Let's get that done and see if we can't move on to other things. Alright folks, well, first thing you're going to see is I took the front off of the thing on one side. I still have the other one over here because we're going to lift up this one side to do the gas tank. I've got that rear tire ready to lift.
What we did do though is we came back here and we finished our hangers. So there are our hangers bolted up there. I did lie to y'all, I used a hose clamp, but I used it to clamp the two together so it wasn't so close to the drive shaft. But they are hanging the same distance and length, and it looks good. I got tired of looking at this dented up center cap, so I pulled it and beat the dents out to the best of my ability. Did some old redneck body work, just like usual. I did notice over here, I checked, and all of the bed sides have their braces connected except for one, and it's up here. You see this side has its, but this side doesn't. So I'm going to go ahead and connect that real quick. Then I'm going to lift this side up, and once I get this side lifted up, I will come through and get y'all back on the camera, and we'll go through the tank deal. Now I did go through and notice when I busted those lug nuts off on that side to take that wheel off to pop the dents out of the center cap, the wheel studs, the lug nuts were loose. So I went around the truck, and lo and behold, all of them were kind of loose. And now I remember I just put them on with the gun and I didn't tighten them down. So that's a little reminder, and I figured I'd remind you guys too. Always check your lug nuts. So let's get that done real quick, and I'll get y'all back on camera and we'll tackle the fuel tank. Alright folks, unfortunately I gotta cut the video here. It's getting a little too long. I only like to make them about an hour and 30 minutes long. Anything longer than that is just movie status. Heck, this is kinda. So I hate to cut y'all off when it gets good, but y'all just gonna have to stay tuned for part 2 on finally finishing Old Blue. So there'll be a part 1 and a part 2 on this one. Y'all be sure to stay tuned for part 2 where we finish it. We are going to put a windshield in it and a whole bunch of other things. We've already actually done it. I'm just going to put it on the other video. So we've already put a windshield in it. It's already got tail lights. It's already got a whole bunch of stuff that y'all are going to enjoy. Bunch of new parts thrown at it at this point, and we're about to throw new fluids in it. The gas tank has been went through and all that good stuff. So y'all be sure to stay tuned for that video. The best way to do that is to subscribe to the channel. Hit that all notification bell, that way you're notified every time we put out a video, which is every week. Try to do it every Monday, but sometimes things slip up. But hey, with the new computer that we just got for editing, we should be back on track and have no issues. Really, the only issues I ever had was the editing software that I had and the computers and all that stuff. But we have a brand new computer, guys. And it is a miracle. It's a blessing. So I thank God for the new computer and everything He's done for us here. I thank God for all you guys that are watching and everybody that actually enjoys the content here. I really appreciate you guys. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. I'll try to reply to everybody. If you are interested in a shout out, just let me know. I'll be sure to give you one. Go ahead and give a shout out to Jeff in Virginia. Appreciate you always watching. He's always commenting, always watching, always wanting a shout out on the video, so I figured I'd go ahead and give you one, buddy. You didn't even ask for one, but hey, here's one for you. Shout out to all you other viewers and subscribers and commenters and likers, and we just appreciate you guys. We really do. Next goal is 1,000 subscribers, so let's get there. That'd be great. Be sure to follow the Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, where we post daily and weekly updates to those platforms as well. Also, be sure to come join us on Facebook, Flying Ryan's Garage Mud and Race Mowers. Share your builds, share your ideas. We're trying to build a little group there, so be sure to come join. Also, if you want to see me on my other channel, I have a whole year's worth of content ready to go. It is going to be adventuring, exploring, abandoned stuff, old graveyards. Well, you've already seen Old Car City, so I guess I don't really need to say go see it over there, but it is over there. and a whole bunch of other stuff we upload every month over there for now. Adventuring O'Brien on YouTube and Facebook. Link will be in the description for that too. So y'all be sure to go check me out there. Subscribe there, subscribe here, check out all the content, and we will see you guys on the next episode. It will either be finishing up and getting the Indy running, or it may be part 2 of this video, or it could be a mower. So y'all just gonna have to subscribe and stay tuned to find out. We'll see you guys on the next episode.